There's always been drugs downtown. If you walk through Old Town and you want to buy drugs, you can buy drugs fairly easily.
As with most cities, Portland, Oregon is plagued with a persistent drug problem.
Downtown Portland's always been a hub for people to come to from Hillsborough, Beaverton, all over the suburbs to come. They know to come to Old Town for drugs.
Nothing seemed to help. Some people were arrested again and again. Then in 2000, a new police officer, Jeff Myers, arrived in town. Back in Tucson, he'd had a distinguished career as a homicide detective. In Portland, Myers set out to do something different. He proposed a bold new vision of how police should deal with drug offenders. Instead of just arresting them, he said, why not try and help them to become drug-free?
We wanted to have the ability to get someone sober and on time to a treatment facility.
That's just what he did for a special group of serial offenders that became known as The List. Myers made sure these drug users got lots of care and attention.
We have a whole continuum for treatment and housing. We have inpatient treatment, a 4-month period where we stabilize their addiction in a 24-hour supervised environment. And then when they successfully complete that, we have outpatient treatment, which they attend on their own, and dry housing, meaning that they've graduated to the point where we give them housing, and their housing is predicated on them staying drug-free. When they've successfully completed that, we work on permanently housing them, working with them in terms of jobs and career placement, and ultimately assimilating back in the community.
Along with these services came a downside, an automatic felony charge. What did people on the list think about this deal?
Went there because I was just tired of going to jail and I had, some time over my head. But once I was there, Officer Myers told me, whatever you need, let me know. And I was like, okay, whatever. When I was looking for a job, he said, hey, I'll help you. And he did. And it was like, that blew me away.
Is the program working? Jeff Myers is in no doubt.
If you walk through Old Town now, it's quite a different place than it was just a few years ago.
But not everyone is happy about the list. It attracted the scrutiny of journalist Matt Davis, a reporter for the Portland Mercury. Davis worried that the price of being on the list was the loss of vital liberties.
If you're on the list, you don't know you're on the list. There's no way of challenging being on the list, and you can't get off the list. This program's not evil. It's just, I don't think it's constitutional.
If anybody comes up and asks us if they're on the list, which they do often, yes, we'll tell someone's on the list. We don't go out and notify people that they're on the list.
Eldon Rosenthal, an attorney for the American Civil Liberties Union, also has issues with the list.
There's nothing wrong with the police saying, you've got an addiction problem, Miss Smith. You need to be in treatment, and we've got programs for you. The problem is when the police say, we have a secret list, and you're on the list, and you get special attention from us.
It's kind of a misnomer calling it a secret list because it's not secret that we have a list. Everybody since day one has known that we have a list. We specifically don't publish the names of the people that are on the list other than for law enforcement because it's our intent not to impugn or defame the character of those individuals on the list.
But critics railed about the fact that people who get put on the list are given an automatic felony charge, whereas before they might have gotten off with a misdemeanor.
You don't need to convict somebody of a felony to get them treatment. I'm totally in favor, the ACLU is totally in favor of getting drug offenders into treatment. You don't need to convict them of felonies to do that.
Also skeptical is public defender Thaddeus Betts.
If the city just wanted to help people, there's no reason that they have to revamp a felony charging policy. They can just provide that assistance. You could still get convicted of a misdemeanor and the city could still fund a probation officer to supervise you and help you with everything. There's simply no reason other than just to be extra punitive.
But according to Myers, an automatic felony charge guaranteed offenders would not fall through the cracks. Before the list, he says, many repeat offenders given misdemeanors might wait 6 months to get to court, and just as long to get treatment, and many slipped back into their old ways.
The system's very broken. You're supposed to have enough district attorneys to prosecute every case. You're supposed to have sufficient probation officers to supervise clients. You're supposed to have enough officers to actually enforce the law. You're supposed to have enough jail space and enough social services to accommodate rehabilitation. The system's very broken. We have just created this list for this microcosm of the population that is causing what we believe are a small percentage committing an inordinately high number of crimes.
One of those multiple drug offenders was Daryl White.
Well, I think the list is created for people who are extreme. So extreme measures need to be taken. I was extreme, my record is bad. You know what I mean? I have multiple felonies, multiple misdemeanors. The normal process of going to jail, stuff like that, was not working.
But Myers' critics have another argument. The police list, they say, unfairly targets certain regions like Old Town.
Right now, if you live in the West Hills and you've got a drug problem, you're not going to end up on the list because you're not going to have your contact with the police downtown. It's going to be up in the West Hills where you live, or at Strohecker's where you shop, okay? But if you've got a drug problem and you live downtown, you get on the list. That's an example of what's wrong with having geographic limitations.
This list is about gentrifying Old Town. This list is about cleaning the streets of Old Town of undesirable people so that developers can come in and build. It's essentially something that's been driven, I think, by business interests, and they've managed to find a willing dupe in Jeff Myers, because Jeff Myers actually believes that this is about uplifting lost souls. I certainly don't think it's a police officer's role to take care of an individual on our behalf. That's what social workers are for. Jeff Myers is a cop. He's not a social worker. And I think he's confused about that. Jeff Myers is not an evil man, but he knows this program has constitutional problems.
It's funny. When I started in 1979, my training officers were all old, crusty Vietnam War vets, and first thing I got in the car, they grumpy old Vietnam vets said, "Now, son, remember, you're not a social worker. You just hook them and book them. That's all you do." And really, law enforcement has evolved. We're really involved in the entire community, and certainly we are a part of that community and finding solutions to problems as opposed to just living in a silo and saying our only responsibility is to arrest.
So what do critics of the list propose doing instead?
What I think has to happen is that people have to be notified if they're on the list. There has to be a mechanism for correcting errors. The list should not be based on geographic considerations. If you're going to have a list of drug offenders, it should be citywide. If those steps were taken, I think it would meet constitutional standards.
On April 7, 2009, the ACLU joined Portland's public defenders in bringing a suit to ban the list. The judge declined to do it, handing the fate of the list back to the city of Portland. So for now, the controversial program remains. Portlanders must decide, can a program be unconstitutional but still worth having? Myers has plans to expand the list throughout Portland, and while few doubt his sincerity, critics are worried.
I'm not being harsh on him. I'm asking for something that every citizen should be guaranteed under the Constitution, which is fair treatment. And Jeff Myers will talk to you about drug treatment, he'll talk to you about uplifting these people, but he will ignore the constitutional concerns. And that is unforgivable.
Obviously, the problem of laying all the power in one man's hands is that even if he is an all-good being, what about his replacement?
Hey, Jeff Myers, that's my friend now. I'm cool with him. Because he's actually really trying to help people, because he didn't give up on me. He did not give up, and he gave me a chance.